The Great Wall is another big old CGI mess? Let's find out. Hey, what's up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and today we're going to review The Great Wall. So The Great Wall stars Matt Damon, and what this film is about. It's about, when these two guys, they're looking for black powder, and what happens is they get, mixed in to this war between, with the Great Wall and, these mystical creatures, and now they have to help them fight these mystical creatures. So, what did I think of The Great Wall? Now, The Great Wall, I wouldn't necessarily say I was dreading this movie or anything, but I just wasn't looking forward to it, because by the trailers, it just seemed like it was just going to be another movie that they wasted a bunch of money on, and it just looked like a big old CGI mess to me. And is it that? I wouldn't necessarily say it's that, but more or less it's just a bland and boring movie. That's really what this movie is. If I had to rename this movie, I would call it The Bland Wall. That's what I would call this movie, The Bland Wall, because that's exactly what this movie is bland. It has uninteresting characters, an uninteresting storyline, some uninteresting action scenes. It's just not an interesting movie. I did not really enjoy The Great Wall. So let's get into my positives with The Great Wall, because I do have positives with this movie. First being, Matt Damon. I thought he was really good. I really liked his character. He was by far the most interesting character in the entire film. I enjoyed him in the movie. He did a very good job in my eyes. I really liked him in the movie, so yeah, Matt Damon was really good. My boy Oberyn from Game of Thrones, he was in this movie as well. And he was really good too. I really liked him in the movie. He was also interesting. They were probably the only two interesting characters in this entire movie. Like, seriously, they were the only two interesting characters in this entire film. Like, I really didn't care. Well, I'll get more into why I didn't. But they just really were the only two interesting characters. I thought, he did a really good job as well in the movie, so yeah. There was one action scene that I thought was really cool. It was the middle action scene. I thought that one was really cool. I really liked that one a lot. So yeah, I really thought that was a really cool action scene. Some of the writing isn't really too bad with the movie, some of the writing really isn't too bad. The directing really isn't too bad either, It was pretty well shot, had some pretty nice directing. Cinematography wasn't that bad either, so yeah. The directing wasn't too bad with the movie. And, some of the visual effects looked fine. Some of the visual effects didn't really look that bad at all. There were some times where I thought, they looked okay, they're passable at times. There's some of the visual effects I thought were passable at times. So, yeah. Now let's get into my negatives with the movie, because, yeah. First being, the rest of the acting and the characters. Now, this isn't, bad acting or anything. This isn't, they're terrible, but they're just so wooden. They're just so bland and uninteresting. I forgot the woman's name in the movie, but she's, the head leader of this entire thing. And she was just boring. She was so dull. I'm like, I could care less about you. You're so boring and so dull. I was so uninterested with her character. Same goes with Willem Dafoe in this movie. He was so boring to watch on screen. I was just and I actually forgot Willem Dafoe was even in this movie until I had to do, look up and make sure for my review and stuff. I was like, oh wait, yeah, Willem Dafoe was in the movie, because I completely forgot he was in this movie, because that's how uninteresting and dull his character is in this movie. Seriously, the characters in this film are so uninteresting. Besides Matt Damon and, the other dude, I'll just call him Oberyn for now because I forgot his name. But those were the only two characters that were interesting in this movie. And the only ones I cared for in this film. Seriously, all the other characters are just boring and uninteresting. So yeah, the action scenes are very underwhelming. Like, they're not badly filmed or anything. Like, I will give it credit that the action scenes are very well filmed and very well edited, but they're just so, like, lifeless and uninteresting. Like, the very first action scene that happens in this movie between the creatures was so boring. I was just like, this should be exciting, but I'm so bored by this. It wasn't until Matt Damon and, the other dude got involved in the fight, that's when it got really fun and exciting. Before that, it was just boring. Even the final action scene is really boring. Like, it really is. These action scenes were very boring in my eyes. I was like, this is so boring. Besides the middle action scene, which I thought was really good, I really liked that. The rest of the action scenes are very uninteresting and very lifeless in my eyes. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I will say this. There was a certain thing that happened in this movie where I was just like, that makes no sense at all. Like, I'm like, wait, so, what? That made no sense whatsoever. That certain element I'm talking about, it made no sense whatsoever. I was just like, wait a minute, what? I was just like, that makes no sense. It really did. Like, this one element that happens in the movie, I was just like, this makes no complete sense whatsoever. Some of the writing can be, like, not really that good at times. The visual effects, like, they're not terrible, but yeah, they're really not that great. Honestly, like, when they used the special effects on the creatures, they weren't really that great, to be honest. Like, they weren't, like, terrible looking or anything, but they really weren't that great for the most part. And they definitely could have improved on those visual effects. And the movie is so boring! My goodness, is it boring! Oh my word, it's boring. This movie is so boring! My goodness, it really is. And not to mention the story is very uninteresting as well. I forgot to mention that the story is uninteresting as well. And this movie moves at a snail's pace. And it's only an hour and 43 minutes! And it moves at a snail's pace! I was just like, something become interesting. Because I was almost at the point of falling asleep. You don't even need to take a NyQuil. Just watch The Great Wall, because that's how boring it is. My goodness, was this movie boring. So yeah, overall, The Great Wall. It's not a bad movie per se, but at the same time, it's not a good one either. It's a very uninteresting and very, just a boring and dull movie. The Bland Wall. That's the new nickname for it. The Bland Wall. Because that's exactly what it is. Bland. It's a bland movie. So aside from my official grade on The Great Wall, and my official grade on The Great Wall is a C. It's mediocre at best. It really isn't that good of a movie. And it's just like I said. It's a very uninteresting, boring, and dull movie. It's just a movie you would probably just catch on, I don't know, Cinemax or Showtime or whatever. Like, you just catch it on one of those channels, like, oh, that movie, So, yeah, The Great Wall, it gets a C. Not a very good movie. So, what did you think of The Great Wall? Leave in the comment section below, and I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you out later. Peace.